Move out of the Bank of England. Today is Thursday, Bastille Day, July 14th, 2016, and the Bank of England has just not made any changes to their policy. This is incredibly disappointing because just 2 weeks ago, just after Brexit, Mark Carney, the governor of the Bank of England, in a press conference, and I think under testimony, says, "Hey, we'll probably have to do something to, change a policy or do some stimulus," or I forget his actual language, sometime this summer. And because of this shock, because he said, and money managers around the world, investors, traders, all these different guys, they need to change their policy to accommodate this new information. Like, really? What did he say? Holy crap, I got to make all these changes now. 2 weeks later, we have the big central bank meeting of the year, the absolute perfect time to announce a new policy. Everyone's prepared for it. Everyone's moved money around because of what he said. And boom, they didn't do anything. Not a dang thing. So money changed hands because of what he said. Money changed hands again because of what he didn't do. That is just incredibly disappointing. People wouldn't have made, they wouldn't have done it in the first place, except that's what he told us to do. So anyways, I posted in the chat room here that they did, the Monetary Policy Committee did review a range of stimulus measures and combinations, but most of the members expected policy to be loosened further in August because, for some reason, July is no good for them. And they're going to use this time, to further do some analysis. What the heck? Incredibly disappointing. So maybe Mark Carney misspoke. He went out on a limb on his own, but he screwed a whole bunch of people over and billions of dollars, exchange hands for no reason. But anyways, hey, that's Forex. Forex is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. So please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. And on that measure, since I'm cranky, let's play the happy music. Yeah, Peter, I take it all back. I think what happened is Carney misspoke, and he didn't have the backing of the rest of the committee, so he probably thinks they're a bunch of cowards. So hey, my name is Wayne. I'm a chief FX market strategist for TradersWay. I've been trading Forex a long time, and markets have screwed me over several times like this before. Come on, Carney. Right? Look, if you're gonna do it, right? Yeah, it's just a real shame that. So, anyways, we do these strategy sessions every morning, Monday through Thursday here at Forex.Today. Hey, if you're watching this as a recording, maybe on YouTube, not only should you subscribe or give it a like and all that kind of stuff, but why don't you swing on by Forex.Today? Our sessions are free. They start at 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Thursday. Every Friday, I'm at fxstreet.com, where I am Forex Speaker of the Year. Those sessions are premium and cost money, unless you attend my non-farm payrolls, which I've been doing for over 10 years. And those generally get somewhere between 600 and 1,000 people registered. But you swing on by for that if you want. Was that you trading on your iPad walking down the street? Yeah, maybe. This one? Yeah. Except I don't use iPads. Yeah, I know, I know. Yeah, I worked at Apple though. Yeah, one time I'm at a meeting in our building, and just some conference room, and we finished the meeting, and I'm like, what's this pile of garbage in the corner of this nondescript, non-important meeting room, right? All in Japanese kind of theme is kind of interesting. Like, what's this pile of garbage over there? So I walk over and I look and it turns out it's Lisa. Did you guys know what Lisa is? And why I thought it might have been a pile of garbage? It was the first computer that Wozniak and Jobs built together out of parts and plywood. Plywood. So there's this pile of garbage in the corner of the room. I'm like, what is this crap? So I walk over there. I'm looking at it, and you can see like writing on it with pencils, and boards like just screwed on there with wood screws. And somebody said, "Yeah, that's the first Macintosh." What? Yeah. They built it. Yeah, they built it in the back of a van somewhere. I'm like, really? That's it? That should be in a museum. They're like, it's in this conference room. So, how funny is that, huh? It probably is in a museum now. Is that right, Gorilla? So if you guys are computer geeks, you'd be fascinated by such a thing. Yeah, I'm just sitting there drinking my coffee. What the hell is this crap? Oh, that's the first personal computer in the whole world. Oh, is that right? Well, I gotta go now. All right, so here we are, stupid British pound. All right, so again, the part that makes me mad is that if a central banker says we're going to change policy or we're not going to change policy, that is important information, and it would be probably negligent and perhaps against your fiduciary duty, right, if you just ignored that new information. Okay? Like, I'll give you another example. The Swiss National Bank says the peg to the euro and to the floor at, what was it, 120, is the centerpiece, still the centerpiece of this central bank's policy. And what it says is, we will continue to hold the floor at 120. 48 hours later, they pull the plug. Well, you know what? If they had only said, there may be other strategies, this may not be the right strategy, we're considering alternatives to this peg, and it gives market participants an opportunity to change and adjust for this new potential risk of a change of policy. And maybe people wouldn't play the peg, right? Kind of thing. But the head of the Swiss National Bank comes out and says it's the centerpiece and the cornerstone of our policy, and everyone says, all right, well, they're going to maintain the peg, so we're going to maintain those positions. 48 hours later, he screws everybody over, billions are lost. Billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars lost. Because essentially, one person lied to us. Well, Carney, I think, misspoke. It seems apparent that he misspoke. He believed in his mind that a change in policy was going to be necessary to preempt a negative impact from Brexit, which is fine, but he didn't have the backing of his fellow Englishmen. Stupid Canadian, huh? He just assumed, I suppose, hey, we need to do something. That's just what you should do. If you see the freight train coming, you should probably get off the tracks. Right? You know what I mean? So in his mind, it's probably obvious. Yeah, we need to do something. Then he takes it to his committee, and they're like, no, that's not what we do in England. Right? And they're like, what? So anyways, that's Carney's fault. Carney said they're going to do something this summer. 2 weeks later, he had his perfect opportunity. August, who cares about August, right? So anyways, people moved money around because Carney said a change was coming, and then the change didn't appear, so now they had to move it back. And again, fortunes were probably mostly lost, not necessarily made. So that's very, very unfortunate. That's the part I don't like. And to just say it one more time, if he hadn't have told us a change was coming, we wouldn't have made a change. You see what I mean? So it's a double dip negative. James says, yeah, someone always wins, but it would have been those that are just playing it on the short term. You know, if you were, let's say, I don't know, Apple Computer. We'll talk about Apple Computer. The person in charge of finance or finance in the UK area for that company would potentially have changed some of their strategies, some of their hedging positions, and part of their portfolio. All of this to prepare, and there would be a negative impact to that. Would they have bailed on their trades? I don't know. Every situation's different, right? But nonetheless, it was misinformation, and that's not helpful at all. Now, if you were long going into that, that would have been horrible, horrible, horrible gamble because the market didn't expect it, and it was less likely. And sure, you could argue, well, you thought this and thought that, but it's basically gambling to be long or short before the news, right? But the odds were much more likely that a change was coming because he had told us a change was coming. See what I mean? So if you made money because you were long pre-news, that's probably degenerate gambling. So therefore, you would have traded after the news, which would have been more of a scalp off of, like if you looked at the pound dollar, there was the daily 21, there was the weekly pivot. I think there was a monthly pivot or a daily pivot in there as well. I mean, okay, you shorted from the top side, and that's a scalp, and that's fine. But you probably didn't, risk billions either, right? Where someone might have, if you had billions, how about think of it this way: if you had billions risked on the pound, and the person in charge of the valuation for the pound says, "I'm going to do something this summer that will weaken the pound," wouldn't you need to, respond to that information? Right? Isn't it, if you were overseeing billions of pounds, it would be negligent to not have prepared for that change that guy, the head of the Bank of England, told us to, right? You see what I mean? Yeah, you would have to prepare. So now you would have had to hedge, let's say, at the bare minimum, right? Now you're getting crushed on those hedges. Well, son of a... So maybe you didn't lose billions, but maybe you lost 25 million or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 million dollars today on your hedges. And you're like, well, what the hell? I would have hedged it unless you would have, if you would have kept your mouth shut, Carney, I wouldn't have hedged. But now I hedged and I'm losing 100 million bucks because of you, a-hole. Right? You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And then you take that, multiply that by 1,000 different situations where everybody hedged and now everybody's getting screwed, and that could be worth billions. It could be worth tens of billions. You see what I mean? Now, as traders, you were not hedging, and you're probably reacting. But I'm telling you, if you gambled ahead of time, you're shocked. You're shocked at what Carney did, right? So, anyways, what are you going to do here? Yup. Life is grand. Life is great. Life is good. Life is beautiful. Ooh. Do 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 do. So what are you going to do? Did you look for opportunities to buy dips or sell? Oh, someone says, why would Carney send a confusing message? Any hypotheses? Yeah, I already said it. He just assumed, and that's his mistake, that the committee would agree with him that they should respond to Brexit. And they get there, and there's a difference between Canadian attitudes, I suppose, and British attitudes. And they're like, hell no, we need to study this, right? It's sort of like two generals planning a battle, and one says, we got to get in there, we got to surprise them, right? We got to attack. Just right now, get them, mother. And the other one says, well, we need to study this, and we need to do some reconnaissance, and we need to do this and do that. And the other general's like, no, 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 no. They're going to pull in reinforcements. They're going to build fortifications. They're going to, no, we got to strike now. And the other one's, yeah, we'll definitely strike in a day or two. By the way, let's have some tea. Ew. Right? So you can imagine that an English general and an American general overseeing the same, the same battle, right? So they're going to wait another month and blah 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 blah. Okay. So I bring up this one because it doesn't seem like a lot has changed, right? What does this tell us? Well, like euro dollar and pound dollar went up, so relative to the US dollar, the dollar must be weak, right? And yet USD yen hasn't done much at all. So the yen must also be weak, right? Can you see the price action? Five-minute chart. Just getting my drawing tool here. La da do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That's if you believe it's going to keep going. Let me change the color here because other people are going to trade it the other way, right? So they're looking at it like do 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 do. Okay, but definitely this area is going to come in play if that is the case. Okay, but you can see, let's say going into the 1 minute now, you can see there are those that scalp this. Okay, they definitely scalped it. And now they're going to play the lower high, lower low scenario, right? So someone would have done something here. So it just really comes down to what's going to happen in the next, 30 minutes. And that's still the area here, right? So you could play it like a range, if you will, until it breaks out. What do you stink? Smell like a plan? So what do you mean? Are those? Oh, it's just some stupid thing. Just some stupid tool. See, one thing I keep trying to tell you guys, it doesn't matter. I don't care what EMAs you use, it just doesn't matter. As long as you're doing your analysis, right? Now mine just happened to work very well with fractal geometry. They overlap very well in multiple time frames. All right, so anyways, this looks like it's moving to, it's gonna try, huh? Okay. Notice that people are buying it at 41. Nice little psych level. 41 is right here. Are those? It could be an alligator. Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah, that was an alligator. I think you're right, but again, it doesn't matter. How about that? Is that better? I call it gray lines. Is that better? So there's your beast, just like that in 2 minutes, up 50 pips. Didn't we have a CAD yen thing going? Yeah, so Canada did not make any changes, right? Mm, 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 mm. Thought we had a plan on one of these, didn't we? Must have been this one. I don't see anything dramatic going on. Now you can see why I use these drawing tools, because they're very influential in the future, not just when you're drawing them now. right? But again, later in the future, they can be very important. Just lots of great opportunities. You know, I see lots of things like double bottoms, higher highs, right? Nice pullbacks. Just stuff that, you know, I teach over and over and over and over and over again. I thought we had one of these set up though, didn't we? Does anyone remember? I know we had that one. I thought we had a CAD yen one because wasn't I going on and on and on about front running it on Monday? And I don't think it was USD CAD, was it? Maybe it was USD CAD. Life is grand, life is great, life is good, life is beautiful. You gotta give it what you got. Gonna get what you give. Trying to see, bust this out to larger time frames. Well, I don't see anything conclusive, but I do remember talking about it. But anyways, oh, I remember it now. I remember. We had this idea up here, right? It double topped, lower load, reverse, right? There's your sell zone, right? And then we talked about how this headed down into from the weekly R1 to the weekly central, and we found ourselves back here pre-New York. That's right. Okay, follow me now. I had this set like that, and I had this set like that, and we talked about how this was the 618 Fibonacci retracement of this low and this high. Okay, now I said you could do it like this as one strategy, or let it break and catch the pullback strategy, right? Or if you're a bear or a bull, you know, you were supposed to either be in here or be in there, depending on what you were before the news. And of course, this up here was the ultimate front run, which we talked about, right? So anyways, lots of just very interesting things happening. But I'm pretty sure we talked about, oh, that's right, we talked about fractals with Miles, right? Didn't we have it? Didn't I draw like 5 or 6 lines this way, 5 or 6 lines this way, and then 5 or 6 lines this way? Right? Is that right? Can anybody else confirm? Miles says yes. Oh yeah, and then Peter says don't trade in the middle, right? Yep. If you're going to sell, sell at resistance. If you're going to buy at support. Right? Yeah. So anyways, there we are. So I'm looking at what? Copper. Copper's moving sideways at the moment. Gold is coming down. Amazing how far it actually did go. Oil, you know what? Oil is up at a pivot point. Now, we had a couple of people shorting oil, and I think the target was 45, and didn't it go to like 44.90? Where are my oil traders? I think Jimbo was one. Anybody else? Yeah, James. So Jimbo, and your target was 45, wasn't it? Yes. Did you get out at your profit target? Oh well, congratulations. High five, buddy. High five. Boom. Right? Love it when a plan comes together. What else? Euro's doing surprisingly well. Yesterday was pretty tricky on the ends because most of them seemed like they were trading off of the daily 21. So you're like, oh, that's obviously coming down. Whoop. Right? Whoop. I guess not. All right. So let's, you guys said something about Kiwi yen. I think we had that set up as a double bottom 1, 2, 3. Cup and handle. What book have you been reading, Vista? Do people actually say that? I know it's patterns and stuff, but I can't imagine, you know, I can't imagine people actually saying that, do they? Right? I mean, maybe they do. That's one of the weirdest things. Like, since I'm self-taught and when I hang out with traders, I'm the one talking. So I never get to actually hear other traders talking. Like, cup and handle. Do they actually say that? Well, I don't know where we had this. Um, Maybe it was this one. Yeah. To be nothing wrong with it, of course. Oh, here it is. It's so last week. There it is. Yeah. There's the double bottom higher high. Right? There's the first pullback. There's the second pullback. I believe both of them we set up in our webinars. Now remember, I've said it many times, if you were to start doing something, like if you were going to start bringing control and strategy to your trading, the first pattern you should probably trade are things like double bottoms with higher highs or double tops with lower lows. Okay? Your entry is either here or here, right? So the two entries are either this higher high, higher low combo off of the first double bottom, or the bigger one, which would be probably on like a 4-hour chart. But nonetheless, the rest is just having it follow through off the moving averages, okay? It's a very, very interesting thing to see it follow through, isn't it? The a tricky part here where it could have been easy to lose money is sort of in here, because if I was a bear, I would have been selling there, right? If I was a bear, I would have been selling there. And if I was a bull, I wouldn't have been buying there. So that could have been an issue, a point of contention. Right? So that's that. But try to get this down in your repertoire, guys. The double bottom. See, this high is higher than this high. And so now you, at that point, you start buying dips. And what's the secret code word? Hammock. So I know I've taught it to the point where it's cliche, but okay. There's the ultimate double bottom, right? I guess another takeaway is if we're considering this a bottom, look where the resistance is. Right? You don't have to be a rocket surgeon, do you? Yeah. But if you look at this, you know, what is the higher time frame? Right? No. What is, you know, what is the trend, right? So, so that's over and dead. Who knows what happens now? Life is beautiful. Ooh, gotta give it what you got. Gotta give it what you get. Gotta give it all you got. You're gonna get it. Get all you give. Right? I kind of like that part of the song. Very similar patterns here. Now we're at the top. Little daily pivots going on. So you remember, if you're filtering these with a bias, it's so much easier, isn't it? So those are daily pivots. Bum, 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 ba, bum, bum, ba, bum. These are weeklies. Oh, almost clicked the wrong button. There we go. It's difficult with weeklies because we're just out. Okay. So should we play 81.50? Right? There's that play. Or if you are doing price action, in fact, you know what? Let me zoom in a little bit more. If you're going to take it north of this, then you want to identify the roll reversal and you want to buy the dip. Okay. And of course, in the future, this is going to steepen, right? Okay, and you can see someone's already done it. And then maybe that gets us to 81.5. The projected high of the month really is 86. So if you find yourself up here, this is where you start to hunt stops. So put that on your dashboard too, huh? Yeah. What if BOJ doesn't do anything, huh? Remember, central bankers love to do nothing. So there's a weekly M4 holding pound dollar down. That's cool. I don't know if I want to look at euro. So I have a setup like this called pivots. When is a great time to have a setup like this? When's the most advantageous time to have a setup like this? Mama, what's advantageous? It's where your daddy trades weekly pivot points. Mm-hmm. Well, I got Forrest Gump and Swing Blade in there, right? I like the way you trade. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So let's get jiggy with it. Okay, M2 on Monday morning predicts up or down. Okay, so this is the target. Okay. M2 on Monday morning, up or down? This is the predicted target. Okay. Weekly M2 on Monday morning, target. And we've blown the tops off of these, but, you know, we've had a strange week. Okay. Weekly M2 at the bottom, predicts up. This is the target. Look at weekly M2 on Monday morning. This is the target. Weekly M2, Monday morning. This is the target. So Euro yen, USD yen, Aussie yen, pound yen, CAD yen, and Kiwi yen. Huh. How does that make you feel emotionally? This one went up 900 pips. This one went 77 to, and I'm only going to the protected top. 77, this one went up 400 pips. 73 to 77. This one went up 300 pips. Let's call this 70. I'll call that 76 to 79. Yeah, so we'll say, well, I'll say 250 on this one. Remember, I'm not saying where we were, just the predicted top. 100 to 100. Well, let's say this one's easily 300, a little more than 300. 111 predicted top was 115, so certainly 400 here. And of course, they're all hundreds of pips above that, so sometimes it runs, but you wouldn't have expected that on Monday morning. 9, 4, 3, 250, 3, 400. Huh. So is anyone going to pay attention to pivot points on Monday? Because that's the message, right? Cool, huh? Did anybody have an aha moment? I know I do this all the time, but did anyone just like fall out of their chair and go, holy crap, I need to do this? Anybody? Roger says it pays the bills, yeah. Fred says, yes, pivots of changes trading to the positive, yep. Yep, Debisa says these weekly and monthly pivots even mentioned on Banks analysis, yep. Miles says the ones he posted on Monday on Forex.Today, well, you say on Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar, dollar CAD failed. Well, the thing is, with a strategy, I'm presuming you were either short dollar or long dollar on all of them. And so if your strategy is going to be wrong and you just traded a basket, then they're all going to be wrong. Just at various degrees of wrong, is right? So therefore, you should spread your risk appropriately across all of them. So let's say you normally trade one standard lot. Well, if you see Monday morning all of these are at M2, then you could just go one mini, one mini, one mini, one mini, one mini, one mini. You still have 4 minis left to add on, right? And you let it rise and let them all win first, and then catch the next pullback and go mini, 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 and then you could, right? And then let it move up again, second wave, and have it come down, move stops on all of them, and then mini, 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 mini again, right? Thank you, Peter. Hey, Peter, have you ever been to Kruger National Park? Nope. Thought maybe you would have. Sweden. Well, next time you're in South Africa, you should go check it out. I'm Swedish in Australia. Yeah, I like Sweden. Yes, Stockholm was one of the most beautiful cities, the old town, and I was just there on a day so beautiful, it couldn't have been real. Oh, what should we do now? I'm just in a cranky old mood. I don't know if I want to do anymore. I guess we can do oil. No, I'm not in South Africa already. No, but I'll be there in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I found my hotel. And I'm booking the flight. You know, all that silly nonsense. Okay. All right, so if you were trying here, interesting thing is if you're doing weekly pivots, if you're a bull, you would have bought down in here. And if you're a bear, you would have sold up into here. And you can see basically nothing's happening at that, really, based on that analysis, right? You know what, let me change the color on this because it's too confusing. Life is great. Life is grand. Life is great. Life is good. How about this way? Right, so really not much is happening at all in my opinion. So when Jimbo sold off the top, his target was very conservative at 45. Seems to me I would have got out at 45.50-ish, but it's neither here nor there. And it's, if you're a bear, it's very disconcerting that it hasn't made a lower low. Okay. It's supposed to be down here by now. So if we don't get lower than this quick, you know, it could be, I don't know, working the other way. I mean, I don't know. Because if you play this as the bottom, which is pretty close, okay. So if you play this area here as the bottom, then you got to take it north to there, 53. That doesn't feel right either, does it? So I don't know, consolidation. Well, the news is Canadian housing, right? And US PPI and weekly jobless claims. None of those are really market moving here. All right, here it all comes. Weekly jobless claims, better than expected. Canadian housing, better than expected. PPI, better than expected. Whoop, 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 whoop. Dollar to come down, don't you stink? Good across the board. Dollar index finding support at its weekly M2. Pretty late in the week to be worried about M2 though. So don't throw down Monday's pivot point strategy on a Thursday. Do, 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 do. Life is beautiful. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Uh. Can't remember where they put their calendar. Do you? What day is the next meeting in August? Expect monetary policy to be loose in August. So again, August what? August 4th. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Fernando. August 4th. All right. Oh, here it is. Calendar. Duh. A little slow. Yep. All right, so they're going to push it off, huh? James, it's not stalling. It's the dollar getting strong on the news. Right. So anyways, I'll repeat in case you guys didn't get it. Canadian housing data better than expected. June PPI for the United States better than expected. Initial jobless claims better than expected. So dollar should be strong. That's all. Aussie's really caught on some pivots. I think it's what, topping out on weekly M4. There's a monthly up there as well. I don't know. Just looking around. Hope you don't mind. Hope you don't mind. I'm cranky. I hate when central bankers lie to us like this. Oh. So by Deutsche Bank. I don't know. Should I have? Roger says, Wayne, what about um, core CPI for the UK, July 19th? Well, what matters. Okay, so why do we look at economic data? Why do we look at economic numbers? CPI, PPI, so on and so forth. Are people buying homes? Are they buying refrigerators? Are they buying clothes? What does this all matter? And it's not even necessarily inflation. Okay, that's why we use CPI and PPI, but retail sales and durable goods and so on and so forth, and housing data. What is it we're really looking for? Expectations of what? Economic growth? Well, why? Central banking policy. Thank you, George. We're simply looking at it because that's what central bankers look at to determine whether the economy is growing, and if you have a dual mandate, if inflation is going up or going down. Okay, fine. That doesn't concern us one way or the other. What concerns us is how the central bank reacts to this data, in particular, the policies that they implement. Right? So the expectations of what the central bank will do. Yes. So if our expectations is that the Bank of England's going to change monetary policy on August 4th, why would I care about CPI data on July 19th? It's irrelevant. Unless it's so unbelievably, ridiculously amazing, right? But that's not likely to happen, right? CPI comes out, instead of 1.5 or 2, it comes out 5. I mean, it's not within the realm of likelihood to be so unbelievably, amazingly high that it will stop the Monetary Policy Committee in their tracks. Because it's CPI for last month, and they're worried about what's going to happen in the future, right? So do you see what I mean? Who asked the question? I think it was Roger, right, Roger? So normally the CPI on the 19th near 2% would be obviously an important one. If you're in normal market situations. No, they wouldn't raise. They're going to cut, Roger. Okay? That's why the pound skyrocketed 350 pips this morning, because stupid Carney told us he was going to cut. So everyone moved into position for the weaker pound, because when you cut interest rates, typically that weakens the currency. So he says, oh, we're going to cut, so the pound weakens. That's what it's supposed to do. And then they come out and do nothing. They're like, what? So it goes up. So now he's going to cut, on August 4th. So really, if you were sort of playing that, you would have sold at the pivots. Okay? Beaster, why do we believe just one person? Well, because he's in charge. Right. So, yeah. So he misspoke, and, billions of dollars was made or lost. Okay, fine. But nonetheless, that's what's going on. So my point is, when you're using economic data, it's important to see the forest from the trees. right? And always ask yourself, what does it mean? Weekly jobless claims, oh, CPI, ooh, PCE, ISM, whoa, right? I mean, they're all important scalping opportunities. That's great. And it does bring volume and volatility to the markets, in particular if the data is unexpected. But then what is the bigger picture? Does it require a response by the central bank? So I'll give you like the biggest disappointment of the year really is the Fed not raising interest rates. They told us flat out through the dot plots in December that they were when they raised interest rates for the first time in a decade, they told us they were going to do it 4 more times this year. What happened to the US dollar? The value of the US dollar skyrocketed, and Euro USD almost went to parity. And then they're like, whoa, 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 the stock market crashed in January. Well, maybe 4 is too many. How about 2? No, it was well before Brexit. So what happened to the US dollar? It went up to 110. And then we were going to raise just interest rates only twice. And then that's disappeared. And you'll notice that we've basically stayed at 110, for a very long time. But actually, I think it went up to 115. Didn't it go from 105 to 115? Right? And now we're back at 110 and we're just moving sideways. Why? Because we went from the expectation that the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States would issue policy change that would increase the value of the dollar. And then we learned that that was less likely to happen. So the dollar gave up 1,000 pips to the pathetic euro. And then we realized, oh, well, there's still 2 hikes, right? We realized this in like February when we're at 115. Oh, there's still 2 hikes on the table. The ECB is not going to raise interest rates. They're issuing negative interest rates instead. So the euro USD, right, that drops back down to 108 or something. So 700 pips down, right? Great, fine, good. And then we find out, whoop. Well, maybe we're not going to do that either, right? And now we're not even sure if they're going to raise interest rates at all this year, and if they do, it's December. So we went from 4 hikes to maybe 1, maybe none. And so you might say, well, you might have thought the dollar was going to be ripper strong, but like, why? Why would it be ripper strong if the Fed's not going to raise interest rates? Oh, well, the economy is doing so much better, and the CPI is. Well, no, look, if the Fed's not going to raise interest rates, the dollar's not going to get strong. Right? So that's what it comes down to. The rest is just, follow the trend, buy at support, sell at resistance, that kind of stuff, right? But as far as what really is going to move the market, it's the expectations that something's going to happen. Carney says, we will probably do something this summer to support the UK economy. Pound weakens, just like that. Why? Because of the economic data? Economic data is fine, guys. Okay? So that's what moves the market. That's what creates trends. That's what you need to pay attention to. And that's why I say things like, will you spend some time on the Bank of England's website? What about the Bank of Canada? What about the Fed? Right? For all you South Africans, I've actually watched live South African central bank meetings, and I love it because it's like 70s night at the nightclub. It's like watching TV from the 1970s. So you're like, oh my God, it's like Three's Company. Without Suzanne Summers. Like, yeah, all right. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba. Smith says Wayne pound was strong all week. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that interpretation, right? But that shows potentially the risk, the risk off, or the risk of the meeting coming up, so on and so forth. The trend is very, 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 very much down. But if you bought at the weekly M2 at the bottom, all right, then you earned it, right? And that's how you earn it, where you say, look, Monday morning, a lot of people had made profit shorting the pound. We're down there near, getting pretty gosh darn close to 130, right? And we're at the weekly M2. There's probably going to be a profit taking and some risk off going into the meeting on Wednesday. So since we're at weekly M2 on a Monday morning, I'm going to long and jam my stop. And if you did that and this took off, then all right, then you earned it, right? Okay, but is it up? Well, all right. So on the smaller time frames, it did make an up or fib retracement and then up again, but that could have easily gone the other way since the market expected something different from what actually happened, right? So it looks good now, Smith, but a lot of that price action was profit taking or risk avoidance, and not necessarily, strong all week, as you say, or at least that's how I interpret it. Okay. Market imperfections. Well, like I said, if you had sold heavily the week before or the week before that, getting out near 130, going into a central banking policy decision, that's just typically profit taking. So up all week for you is most likely profit taking because other people were down for 2 weeks straight. And basically, when you get closer to these big psych levels, it's profit taking. Yeah. So, whatever. So, like I said, I'm super cranky today. Boo, boo. Cranky. Stupid. Just it's a waste of everybody's time and money when central banks lie to people. So sing a song. I know I gotta sing a song. Maybe we'll end on our nice song, and there's always tomorrow. So I'll be at FX Street tomorrow. It's for premium members. If you can afford the dollar a day fee, I'll see you tomorrow at fxstreet.com. Otherwise, I look forward to reading your analysis. How many people are now posting trades on Forex.Today? Are you doing it? To help yourself and to help others and all those different things? So James, Arasan, Velmus, Kate, William, Kate. I thought you guys, there really should be more of you guys. I'm really surprised. I'd like to see more from you guys. I think it's incredibly important to your personal development as a trader. Fred's been making some. Fred, are you in the room? Fred has really nice, clean charts. They're pretty. Yeah, gorilla. Yeah, look at Fred's charts. Oh, cool. It's funny that these don't get there. Yeah, like this is a pretty chart, I think. That's neat, huh? And then here's another one. How pretty. So again, I hope you guys get involved. It's super easy to post your trade plans before you pull the trigger. And if I were me, I would use it like a trade journal. Like we'll take Arson as an example. So he puts his trade plans here. But like if you go to his, everyone basically has their own blog, if you will. And you see, imagine each one of these was your trade plan for the day. You could go through, and it's like a trade journal, isn't it? Right? July 14th, July 13th, July 12th, July 10th, June 27th, June 30th. Oh, that's funny. June 28th. Right? So it's like your own personal trade journal. I think that's powerful if you can go back in time. I mean, these are pretty nice posts. Okay? So I hope to see more from you guys. I want to see you develop as traders. James, that's a really nice chart too. Yeah, but see this part here? Put that in the post. But that's very well done. That's very nicely done. I love it. Excellent work. I'm going to like this. Boom. Oh, I have to be logged in, huh? All right. Gorilla, probably not, but I don't know. So peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Hope to see you tomorrow at FX Street. If not, I'll see you on Forex.Today with your analysis, and have a nice weekend and all that kind of stuff too. I'm just super cranky. It just bugs me, man, when they do stuff like this. Ugh. But I got you, so big group hug. I feel lucky that you're on my team and that you're here every day. I really do appreciate you. Yeah, well, luckily I have tons of homework to do. Thank you, Harvard. Yeah, my professor says, now I'd like to accelerate our our schedule. I'm like, accelerate? What does that mean? Does that mean twice as much in half the time? Great. Yeah, moveon.com, right, Andrew? Yeah, right. Gorilla says this is just part of the business, right? Right? Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. It's just how it goes, right? Got to roll with it. It's just unfortunate. It happens. It doesn't need to be, right? He didn't need to say anything. So, whatever. I'll see you guys tomorrow.